إخلاد معانديك، لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك، أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين. وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا، وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما، أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها، وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها، وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته، وكل ذنب أذنبته، وكل قبيح أسررته، وكل جهل عملته، كتمته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم، والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيته، وبفضلك سترته، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته، أو إحسان فضلته، أو بر نشرته، أو رزق بسطته، أو ذنب تغفره، أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيدي ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة، وبخدمتك موصولة، وأعمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قو على خدمتك جوارحي، واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في البارزين، واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك، وعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجاه، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني مناي، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سريع الرضا، اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دواء، وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء، وسلاحه البكاء. يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النقم، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلم، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بما أنت أهله. وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله، وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
Great. Can we start with the salawat, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So it's going to be a little bit different from now on, at least until the end of the month of Ramadan. And normally it's a practice amongst most of us to be able to recite a juz a day. You will find most people, they will try and do a juz a day, or you call it a sipara a day, or a para a day. The Quran was not revealed in juz or ajza. It was revealed in surah or surah. You all know that? We did 114 surah. We're talking about them. We're on 20, I think 23. We did Mu'minun, right? Okay. So we'll continue with those as we go along. So there's 114 surah. That's how it was revealed. You find there are 6,236 ayat. Okay? 77,807 words. Okay, it's okay. As long as you know maybe 500, you will know about 80% of the Quran. And inshallah, if God gives life, we will do words as well. Now, the Quran was sent to Bukhara. Bukhara is a place in Russia. And there, they divided it into 540 parts, roughly according to subject, because they wanted to finish the recitation of Quran on the 27th of Ramadan. Some Muslims believe that 27th of Ramadan is Laylatul Qadr. And in Taraweeh, they recite 20 rakats. So 20 times 27, 540. So they divided it into 540 parts, and they called it ruku. Because as soon as you finish reciting, you would go into ruku. We called it makra. I don't know why. Okay. It's like an ayn. The top number tells you the number in the surah. The bottom, the number in the juz. And the middle, the number of ayat in that ruku. Now somewhere between Russia and India, 540 became 558. So you will find it is, but this is what scholars did. It's not the prophets or the Aimma having divided this. Because people wanted to finish the Quran in a month, they divided into juz or ajza. Juz, one juz, 30 ajza, exactly 30 equal parts. If you want to finish the recitation of Quran in a week, if you look at the bottom of your Quran, it will say manzil and manazil. So there are 7 manazil. And because as a community, I'm a koji. Because as a community, even when you come for darsa, you recite a juz a day, right? So what I thought would be quite good, and we did this at COVID as well. During COVID, we did them online. We did a juz a day, and we would do the ayat that you would highlight. So when you went through your Quran, and you can come and have a look at mine, these ayat would stick out. You can do a lot more. You've got a piece of paper today. Zara tells me stickers are, she said, Mom, so many stickers, you will get them, inshallah, okay? But hopefully you could put a tick box at the top in each of the juz. You can put your own ayat, it doesn't matter. These are the ayat I think are relevant, and I will go through them. We've done many of them that we will look at today. What I plan to do is maybe, I don't know what time will go, but maybe it's 7 juz today, or 7 ajza today, and then in Ramadan, I don't know whether you want to come or not. Please say yes. So inshallah, we will start the class at 9 o'clock, because that is when the lecture starts, and I don't want to fight with those people doing darsa or whatever they're doing. You know, let's keep out of the fighting. So 9 o'clock in Ramadan, and we will do the 7 ajza a week. Are you all right with that? Okay. So let's start with this one, okay? You know all this, and maybe one day I will go over it again. So that's juz 1. Now, if you look at your piece of paper, it tells you juz 1 is from Surah Al-Fatiha to ayah 141 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Maybe next week, it'll be the 2nd of Ramadan, I will give you a piece of paper which will tell you what to recite every day during the 5 salawat, and you'll be able to finish it. 5 salah as such, you'll be able to finish Quran. But anyway, that's for next week. So, you know, it's Surah Al-Fatiha and part of Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Baqarah is the longest surah in the Quran, and you know this goes only up to 141. What somewhere along the line we will learn is how you would know what surah this is just by listening to the first line. So if I said Yasin, you know it's Surah Yasin. If I said Qaf, you know it's Surah Qaf. If I said Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, you know exactly it's Surah. In the same way, we should know the beginnings of all 114. And inshallah, we will do that as well. So Surah Al-Fatiha picked one ayah that you can highlight, Ihdinas Siratal Mustaqim. And there's nobody here who doesn't know it. Anytime I'm lost for direction, Ihdinas Siratal Mustaqim. Basically, guide me to my personal best. And there is no such month as the month of Ramadan, better than the month of Ramadan, when you can ask, I really want to get to my personal best. There's no point in worrying about something that is not in your control. This is about you and me on our own. If I worry about, I give an example. I have 5 children and 9 grandchildren, okay? If I'm going to worry about one of them, where's it going to take me? Anywhere? No. It really doesn't. You do your best, and then you leave it up to him. This is what this is about, you. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Now when it says guide us, yes, include everybody else in them. But that's all you can do. You can't do more than that. Okay? You worry more about yourself and myself, right? Surah Al-Baqarah. Now you'll find Surah Al-Baqarah is all about iman. And Surah Al-Imran is all about Islam. So you remember when we did the focus of Surah Al-Baqarah, we said history of iman, history of faith. So, and when you talked about Al-Imran, we said manifestation of a Muslim personality, right? Or settling or identifying a Muslim personality. So Baqarah is all about iman. Let's have a look. Dhalik al-Kitab, this book. La rayba fi, there is no doubt in it. Hudal lil muttaqin. What did I ask in Fatiha? Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. What does this tell me? If you want guidance, you've got to be God conscious. You always have to be aware that He is watching. You know, and I've said this before many times, if a camera is on you, your behavior changes completely. You smile. Have you done a selfie before? And then as soon as the selfie is over, you think, oh God, are you serious? What is all this about? Have you been to weddings? And they put you all up on the stage. And you smile, and you think, what is wrong with you? No? You don't feel like that? Ah, thanks. Okay, this is what it's talking about. Hudal lil muttaqin. A guidance is somebody who knows I am constantly watched. Not anybody else. So anywhere I am, I'm watched. Okay, so keep that in mind. You all know the ayah. I picked this one. Obviously, you've got more in here when I cut down many of them. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ. And when your Rabb told the angels, we've done all this. إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. I will place in the earth my representative. You and me are representatives of divinity. How can I be a representative of divinity? By being able to live Asma'ul Husna. The Prophet said, تَخَلُّكُ بِأَخْلَاقِ Allah, adopt in yourself the akhlaq of Allah. So to me in that ayah, if I look at my Quran in 230, I'm just trying to see, I would put here, I was made for the earth and I have to learn the Asma'ul Husna. How many Asma'ul Husna have we got? There's lots. I know you do Joshan Kabir and there's 1,000, but we have 99. Yes? 99 divided by 3? Sorry. Divide by 30. 3? Approximately. 3.3, right? If you were to learn 4 or 3 Asma'ul Husna from the first day of Ramadan till the 30th, can you imagine? You will know them all. And he says one who lives or one who knows Asma'ul Husna is definitely Ahlul Jannah. If right now I told you and me that by the end of Ramadan, you will definitely go to Jannah. It's not rocket science to say how. And how can it be difficult by learning just 3 names? On that basis, when the Prophet was sad, I don't know whether you're ever sad, but when the Prophet was sad, he would recite, Ya Rahman, Ya Latif, Ya Wadud. And he would go for a long walk. I'll repeat again. Ya Rahman, Ya Latif, Ya Wadud. I hope you never get sad in your life, but happens. Right, now what happened? First dua of human beings. فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ. What happened to Prophet Adam? You all know him and said the Hawa went to the... Okay, go back to the story. They're sitting on this balcony. They're sipping these halal mojitos. Okay? Got umbrellas on them. They're looking into each other's eyes and they're thinking, oh my goodness, I want to live like this forever. And they're looking out into the sunset and it's just beautiful. And then this old man comes and says, do you want this to last forever? Do you want permanent residency in Jannah? Like you want to live like this forever? And guess what they say? Yeah, of course. And he says, go eat from that tree. If you eat of that tree, permanent residency, and you will be like this forever. They had never heard a lie in their life. I didn't understand that until I saw my grandchildren. And they said, Nani, if I put a tooth under my pillow, the tooth fairy is going to leave me some money. Are you serious? But that's what we teach them. We teach them that this big Father Christmas is going to come through a chimney that's about that small, if you have a chimney. And we say the Father Christmas, if there's no chimney, then we add on to more lies. And we say, he will come through the window, which is locked and alarmed. And the child leaves cookies and milk. You don't do that? Ah, okay, good. So, they didn't know. This old man comes and tells them, and they'd never heard a lie before in their life, like a child. So they heard him and they ate of the tree. Now they realized once they ate that they'd done something wrong. So Allah says, فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ. He received some words from his Rabb. Tafasir tells us he learned بِحَقِّ Muhammad wa Ali wa Fatima wa Hassan wa Hussein. They learned the words, and their first dua was the dua of Tawbah. Can anybody tell me? We've written this down, by the way. You should have it in your Qur'ans, right? Surah number 7, Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 23. And when we come to it, we'll talk about the dua for forgiveness. The first dua a human being did was a dua of forgiveness. Okay. 243. What are we supposed to do? وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ. Establish salah. It didn't say pray salah. I didn't say that. It said establish salah. Make salah part of your life. وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةِ. When you say give zakah, self-purify yourself. وَارْقَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. And as much as possible, do ruku with people who are doing ruku. The other person who was told this was Sayyidah Maryam. وَارْقَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. Whenever you get an opportunity, be with people. You know what COVID did to you and me? It made you and me sit at home and watch everything online. Yet the difference it makes to be part of this farsh, you can't beat it. That is why 2 salah in jama'ah, 2 rakats in jama'ah is worth so much more than 2 rakats at home. I don't have to tell you this. So Aqimus Salah actually means establish salah. If I were to ask you, which I do every Saturday at workshop, what is the time of Fajr today? Don't tell me. What is the time of Fajr? What is the time of Zuhr? What is the time of Asr? What is the time of Maghrib? And what is the time of Isha? If you don't know them, then you have to look them up. I think on your phone, in the Jamaat app, you get all 5. And if you have time, read 5. It doesn't make you less of a Shia, by the way. Okay? All right, next one. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. If you are stuck, isti'an, you know, you say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Isti'an is asking for help in something you are already doing. It's not just asking for help in something that you're not doing. So it's saying, if you are doing something and you are stuck, وَاسْتَعِينُوا, then ask for help بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ, with self-restraint and salah. I'm reading a book at the moment by somebody called, I don't know what her first name is, last name is Story, and it says, When God Doesn't Help. And he talks about her having married her husband who was very young, and then he has brain cancer, and it's really a book to be read, okay? And here, this ayah sort of comes to life. Inshallah, I'll put it on the group. I'll put a picture so you can see it. And you can buy it in any online bookstore. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ. It's really, really hard. It's really hard. You know when it says God answers immediately? There's so many du'as. He answers him. How does he answer? If I asked for patience, he's going to give me a tough time. So I learn how to be patient. If I ask for something, he will always give it, always. But he will always give me better. He will give me growth as well. So here it says, you want help in something you're doing? You need sabr and you need salah. And we can talk lots more about it, but we haven't got too much time. إِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ وَأَغْرَقْنَا عَلَى فِرْعَوْنَ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. What is this talking about? Prophet Musa and the drowning of Fir'aun and his people. And you remember the dua of Imam Sajjad. Ilahi, كيف أدعوك وأنا أنا وكيف أقطع رجائي منك وأنت أنت إلهي فكما فلقت البحر لموسى عليه السلام ونجيته. Like you split the sea and you saved him, save me too. It's an amazing dua and it's based on this ayah. Okay. وإذ وعدنا موسى 40 ليلة ثم اتخذتم الإجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون. And we appointed 40 is an important number. We appointed 40 days. Now, very many times we think 40 is an important number for everyone. 40 is 6 weeks. The only 40th we do is of Abu Abdullah. We don't do it for any of the other Masumin, do we? Have you ever heard of 40th of Imam Ali, the Prophet, Sayyidah Fatima? No. So when somebody dies, and inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun, it is tough. We don't worry about if I don't do this on the 40th, this is going to happen. It was only for Abu Abdullah. 40 days is when things calm down. The human being gets a bit better. But that's another story altogether. 40 is an important number here. If you want to change a habit, you do it for 40 days. That is why you're told, try and fast a little bit in Shaban, so you attach it to the 30 of Ramadan, and it'll become a habit. Okay. The only reason we've put 67 to 73 here, we've done this before. وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تَذْبَحُوا بَقَرَةً. When they were told, kill a cow. قَالُوا وَتَتَّخِذُونَ هُزُوًا. You think we're stupid. قَالَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. And he says, now if somebody told you, you went to the doctor, and you went to a doctor because you were sure that he had his qualifications, and he gave you a prescription. Are you going to go to the pharmacist and say, what color are the pills? If they're blue, I'm not going to eat them. Or are you going to say, if it's a capsule, I'll take them. If it's not, you don't do that, do you? Or you don't say, show me. I'm going to Google it, and you show me which ones. You don't do any of that. Yet these people said, what color, how young, all the rest of it. Now, you and I find this quite difficult to understand because we won't do that with our own health. But when somebody says, pray this, or for example, we get told, do this 120 times. Why? Why can't I do it? Don't. Do it once. That's fine. But the reason why it was given a certain number, which is known as numerology, was a reason. There was a reason for doing it. There was something there. Why do I fast for 30 days? Why do we have to? Anyway, so this is Bani Israel, okay? And that is why the surah is called Surah Al-Baqarah. Now this, if you look at Ayah 83 in your books, it's basically the basis of iman. I told you the surah is all about iman, right? So this is the basics of iman. So we made a covenant, and for me and you it's the same, and we'd underlined it and we'd written 8 things. 1, La ta'buduna illa Allah. You will not worship anybody but Allah. Wa bil walidaini ihsan. The second thing is your parents. Wa dhil qurba wal yatama wal masakin. I'm not going to go into each of these. And then wa qulu linnasi husna. Then talk to people nicely with a smile. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, establish salah, وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ, purify yourself. ثُمَّ تَوَلَّيْتُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ مِّنْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. This is basically the basis of iman. 8 things. I'll go over it again. The first one, worship Allah. Second one, parents. Third one, dhil qurba, those relations. Then the orphans. Then those in need. Then talk to people properly and nicely. Establish salah and atus zakah. You could write those 8 down and make a tick box if you wanted. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu appears 88 times in the Quran. If you want to study the Quran, as in the month of Ramadan, maybe you will start with all the ayat that is Ya ayyuhan nas. And then you will do all the ayat that is Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. That's one way of looking at it. You could highlight them. It's entirely up to you. It's wonderful how the Quran comes to life in the month of Ramadan. That's why the Prophet said, read one ayah, it's like finishing the whole Quran. Okay. وَإِذِ ابْتَلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتَمَّهُنَّ قَالَ إِنِّي جَاعِلُكَ لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامًا. This is talking about Prophet Ibrahim. But what I'd like you to highlight, and you probably did it, is ayah 127 and ayah 128. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Every time you do something, even if you finish ironing, رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. You finish cooking, رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. And it's an amazing ayah. So I'm only going to highlight 1 to 7 here. Okay, these are the du'as of Ibrahim. Then 138. Now we've done this, but I'll go over it again. It says Sibghat Allah. Sibgha, in essence, is talking about coloring. It's like your chromosomes. This is Sibghatullah, the coloring of Allah. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ سِبْغَةً وَنَحْنُ لَهُ عَابِدُونَ. And who is better than giving you color than Allah? Isn't it wonderful to be called Allahi or godly? And I've said this before, I repeat it again. I come from a small town. I was born in a small town called Moshi. And my father went to help when there were some floods and the graves had all collapsed. And when he came back, he just sat down. And I still remember as a child wondering why. And he wouldn't talk for a little while. And he said, that man whom we called Allah, Allah meant that he wouldn't tuck his shirt into his trousers, that his trousers were short so they wouldn't get najis, and he would wear champals. And he would fill people's water jugs in the toilet. And they called him Allah, right? You know, in Kachis, that's Allah means, it's a different word, it actually comes from Allahi. And he said, that man, I was doing his grave, and he must have died 6 or 7 years ago. He said his body was exactly the way it was. One of my cousins is in Iran at the moment, and he tells me that he went to recite Fatiha on the grave of a shaheed who used to, and I've got his name somewhere, I'll put it on the group if you want. And he said what he used to do was get up in the middle of the night and clean all the toilets so the soldiers would get clean toilets. That's what he would do. And my cousin said that when he died, he was killed, but when he died, a smell of roses came out from his body. And even today, when he went to recite Fatiha, he could smell roses from the grave. Okay, so let's take the Sibghatullah, this coloring of Allah, as a beautiful time. Right, Juz 2, my goodness, I just finished Juz 1. I haven't got much time, but I'll try and do as much as I can. Juz 2 focuses on Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 142 to 252. It doesn't even go to Ayatul Kursi, okay? Ayah 144 is change of Qibla. Look at this, it's beautiful. قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلُّبَ وَجْهِكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ. We see you looking at the heavens. فَلَنُوَلِّيَنَّكَ قِبْلَةً تَرْضَاهَا. We will turn you to a Qibla that will make you happy. فَوَلِّي وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. Turn your face. He didn't even say it. It was in here. It was a want, it was a need, it was a... He just wanted, he just felt, Jerusalem was the Qibla. But he wanted to face Makkah, but he wouldn't. Because Jerusalem was the Qibla. And Allah is saying, we know what you want to do. You and I know deep within ourselves what we want and how we want. The idea is to come out with it, right, to ourselves. And then it is to us, وَحَيْثُ مَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرًا. So it's up to you. Now he's telling you and me, wherever you are, turn your face towards Qibla. Okay. You all know the rules of Qibla when you want to study, when somebody's dying, when somebody's ill, to put them towards Qibla. You know your bathroom should not be facing, all that. That's all part of Qibla because of how important it is. There are vibes. I remember somebody coming to my home from my neighborhood a long time ago and said that Feng Shui at that time was quite important. So, your plants had to be in a certain direction, whatever had to be in a certain direction. This is much better. Put things towards Qibla and it makes a difference. If you find people can't study, if you can't read, if you find things are difficult, do that. Construct your home when you're trying to plan your home, do it so that it is towards Qibla. Your studying is towards Qibla. If you're sleeping, your feet are towards Qibla because that's how they're going to put you when you die, right? And sleep and death are together. All these things are important. Think about it. Anyway, الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ, those who are given the book, يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاهُمْ. They will recognize you like they recognize their sons. We are told by Mufassirin, this is regarding Imam Zaman Ajalallahu Faraja, وَإِنَّ فَرِيقًا مِّنْهُمْ لِيَكْتُمُونَ الْحَقَّ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. You will recognize him. Everybody says, how will we know? You will. There is no doubt about it. If you can recognize your son, you can recognize Imam. Okay, all right. I love this ayah. وَلِكُلِّ وِجْهَةٍ هُوَ مُوَلِّيهَا فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. It says everybody has a direction. Every human being knows what they want. But you, O people who read the Quran, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. Pick the best of destinations. I know as you grow up, you want to pass your exams, you want to go to university, you want to get married, you want to have children, then you want them to be trained out of diapers, then you worry about your children, whether they will grow up and they will go to university and so on and so forth. But the human being must sit down, especially in Ramadan, and think, where do I want to go? What do I want in life? Yes, you want good for everybody else. That's why you say, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, but at the end of the day, you've got to think about yourself. Okay, what do you want? So, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. Companies pay millions of pounds just to get a strap line. Do you know the most important sign or the most expensive sign in the world is the McDonald's M? You know that? Because if you saw that M anywhere in the world, you know it is McDonald's. Anytime somebody saw you and me, they should know what you are, who you are. That is why you and I wear hijab as a means of identity. Okay, past the covering, past all the rest of it. At the end of the day, it is a means of identity. It identifies who you and me are. It transmits a message, a non-verbal message about who you and me are. It's up to you, it's up to me. Okay, we have a choice. So in the same way, find out in Ramadan, take your time up to Laylatul Qadr. Who am I? Where do I want to go? I'll give you an example. Like I said, if somebody asked me, I would say, when the angel of death comes, I want to say, I did my best. I left the world a better place than what I found it in. Khalas. So you have to find a strap line. You may find another one, I don't know. And then it says, أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا يَأْتِ بِكُمُ اللَّهَ جَمِيعًا. Wherever you are, Allah will bring you together. إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. And He will do that, okay? فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Remember me, I will remember you. وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. And be thankful for everything. Good, bad, whatever it is. Just be thankful. And then وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَنْ يَقْتُلُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٍ. Don't even speak of those who have died in the way of Allah as dead. بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ وَلَكِنْ لَا تَشْعُرُونَ. They are alive, okay? And then وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ. We will definitely test you with fear and hunger and loss of property and lives. وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. And fruits means everything you've done. Sometimes you'll find you've put so much effort and nothing shows. But وَبَشِّرِ sabirin. Alladhina iza asabatuhum musiba, they say, qalu inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. I was reading this beautiful thing about this man in Egypt. It's not very long ago. He turned over a box. He put a coffee pot and 2 glass jars on it. Now imagine, that's what he's got. And he's serving people tea. And you know, it's really cheap to get tea on the streets. A man walks by, and in error, he kicks the box. And when he kicks the box, the glasses fall and they break. There is another person who's watching to see what that man would do. That man raised his hands in dua and he said, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. Because he knew that was a mistake. How many of us can do that? As a thought process, it's just something to think about. How many of us can do that? How many of us can say that sort of thing? I know I've got to finish. 5, okay. So I'll end with something. Well, let me see how much I can do. My first granddaughter has got cerebral palsy, and I used to go to therapy with her. I don't do that anymore because they come home to do therapy. And I still remember the day when I was sitting down watching her, and there was a father near me with a child. And I've said this before, I'm just trying to remind you. There was a father who had a child who couldn't even close his eyelids. Okay, Sophia cannot talk or walk or anything, but this child could not even close his eyelids at all. And the father had to put the eyelids up and down. But he told me, this is my greatest blessing. And I looked at him and I said, how so? And he said, every time somebody looks at my son, they think of God. Either they are thankful for what they have, or they raise their hands in prayer to God for my child. She said, he told me, he said, who will give me a child who reminds somebody of divinity all the time? It was a phenomenal concept, and it changed my way of thinking completely. Completely. That one thing. He was a high flyer in the city. He said he stopped his job. His wife now works, but he says, this is my greatest blessing. And as I watched him through the day, he knew his child so well, so well. It was absolutely amazing, okay? So, you know what? Think about this. Think about what this sentence is saying. Think about who you are and what you want. What you have today may not be what you have tomorrow. So thankfulness is a good idea. Okay. Inna Safa wal Marwata min sha'airillah. Safa and Marwa are the signs of Allah. Why? Because of one black woman slave. What did she do? She looked for water for her son. Did she not? Her son was crying. She was left in the desert. So she ran from one mountain to the other. The whole of humanity runs from one mountain to another. You go to Umrah or Hajj, you have to do sa'i. You don't follow the footsteps of Ibrahim. You don't even look in Maqam Ibrahim. You can't even see. You have to push your way in to see those footsteps. But her footsteps you follow. Why? Because she trusted him and she tried her best. That's it. Right? Okay. So that it says you go around them, then it tells you in ayah 168, eat of the good things. Eat healthily and eat halal. 2 H's. Healthy and halal. Okay? I won't go into that. What you don't eat, it tells you in 173. We did this as well. We've been through this. And then finally, I'll finish with this, Ayatul Bir. Probably one of the most phenomenal ayat of the Quran, besides Ayatul Kursi. So Ayatul Kursi is 255, ayah 177 is Ayatul Bir. I will send you more stuff on the group, but basically you should know this tells you who and I should be. First of all, it says, Laysal birra. Bir actually means walking, talking goodness. I'll repeat again. Quran says, Lan tanalul birra hatta tunfiqu mimma tuhibbun. You will never achieve righteousness Lan tanalul birra hatta tunfiqu mimma tuhibbun, until you give out what you love the most, which is yourself. So bir starts with, first thing, bir doesn't mean whether you turn east or west, whether you come from India or whether you come from London. It doesn't really matter. Whether you come from a Middle Eastern country or you come from a Western country, it tells it. He says, وَلَكِنَّ الْبِرَّ is one who believes in Allah, he believes in accountability, وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, and the angels, and the book, and the prophets. 5 things. Does that not say that? That's your belief. How does it manifest itself? It starts off by saying, وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ. They will always spend on their near ones, on the orphans, those in need, those who are refugees, and those who ask, and those who are enslaved, those who are in debt. On a religious basis, you will see وَأَقَامَ الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. Now look at what they're like. This is what these people are like. They will always keep their promises. They will always have self-restraint, whether it is in good times or in bad times. And Allah says, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا, they're the ones who are truthful. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُتَّقُونَ. Please memorize this ayah, just as you memorize Ayatul Kursi. Okay? I'll finish this juz. And finally, it tells you, please keep a will with you. The Prophet said he or she is not one of us. If they don't put a will with you, we will send you this. And because of the month of Ramadan, which starts next week, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. The only reason you keep fast is that you become God conscious. Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan. It's ayah 185 and ayah 186. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيب. When my abd asks you about me, I am very near. أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. I always answer the call of one who calls me. All I ask them to do is to be able to believe in me, in other words, trust me. And then obviously the moon becomes a hijabi in the month of Ramadan. You know that? It hides. And one person believes in one day, and one person believes in the other day. Somebody in the birth of the moon, somebody on the horizon. You know what? Do what you think your marja has prescribed you to do. Follow your marja. Inshallah, we will start on Thursday together, I hope. Okay? Unless something else happens. And then obviously you've got a little bit about Umrah and Hajj. Then you've got about Imam Ali in ayah 207. 215 asks you about what you should spend in. 219 tells you no gambling, no intoxicants. I love this ayah. I tell children to write it. If they don't know how to say it during ghusl, inna Allaha yuhibbut tawabin wa yuhibbul mutatahhirin, I say just write 2. When it steams up, write 2. So if I were you, I would say inna Allaha yuhibbut tawabin wa yuhibbul mutatahhir. You can't say that? You know 4 2s, right? Okay. And finally, give him a loan. He says, who is there who will give us a loan? Why does it say loan? Because he doesn't want people to feel bad. When you give people charity, they feel bad. When you give them a loan, they feel better. And you say, move it ahead. Give it to somebody else. Okay. You all know this dua. رَبَّنَا أَفْرِغْ عَلَيْنَا صَبْرًا وَثَبِّتْ أَقْدَامَنَا وَانْصُرْنَا عَلَى الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ. When you're feeling a bit unsteady, recite that. So we've done juz 1 and 2. Inshallah, next week at 9 o'clock, we will start with juz 3. I'm not sure whether I'll ever finish till juz 30. Otherwise, I'll keep you here till midnight. But hey, here we go. Let's end with the Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين صدق الله العظيم. I will send stuffs on the group inshallah and you will have it. I'm hoping your Quran will look something like this or better when you finish.